Well, Anita says it's been a long time since we've actually done an About Us video, so thought we'd actually do one today. And the About Us is going to be our wedding anniversary, because we've just celebrated our 45th
wedding anniversary yesterday. Cheers, darling.
Cheers, darling. I don't know where all those years have gone. And as I said to Martin, my best man, I don't know where the hair's gone either. Anyway, 45 years
got mine.
And all my hair gone. Anyway, so what we thought to do in this particular video is just to tell you a little bit about our wedding, because it was quite an event in some ways. It wasn't quite an event in others. Anyway, so we're going back now, right back to 1980. So before we even thought about Mallorca, there's nothing to do with Mallorca really. But there is something to do with other things that are going on in our lives at the moment, and those will become relevant as we go on. So in 1980, we'd both finished at university. We both went to Bangor University. Anita and I met when we were only 17.
We did.
And we finished school. We were at different schools, but different colleges. But we both went to university in Bangor.
And then when we finished at Bangor, we decided to go back and live at home for a bit. So off we went back to Stoke and applied for jobs in comprehensive schools. I applied to Blurton High School, and Steve.
And I applied for another high school in Stoke-on-Trent. So we'd both actually got jobs by the time we'd finished university, and we'd also got a holiday organised for August. So even before we'd finished university, a friend of ours had asked us if we would help him with a holiday, and that was going to be for pretty much the whole of August. We also had jobs, summer jobs, so not including the jobs which we were going to go to in the September, but we both got some jobs on the post office.
And that was quite a regular thing we did, to work on the post office, wasn't it? We worked there at Christmas.
So all through our university careers, we'd either worked on the Michelin Tire Company or the post office, or Anita in Boots the chemist. And so our holidays, certainly Christmas and the summer, were taken up with work. We were working, and we managed to earn quite a lot of money. It was quite incredible really in those days how much money as students we had. But anyway, we'd got these jobs at the post office. We were actually doing double shifts at the time. So we'd do a morning shift in one sorting office, going out to deliver letters, and then in the afternoon we'd go to a different sorting office and do another complete shift, which meant we were getting more than double the amount of money for a week's work.
And I remember the days of running away from dogs when I was delivering the letters, and having to take a stick to keep the dogs away in this horrible estate I used to deliver the letters at.
So as soon as we finished university, we went back to Stoke-on-Trent to start these jobs. Anita went back to live with her parents, and I went back to live with my parents.
Which was not ideal at all.
No, neither of us were happy with the arrangements. We certainly wanted to be with each other rather than with our parents. And so
especially having been used to it for the last 4 years.
4 years at university, yeah. So we were looking for places to live, and we got a friend of ours who'd worked in the housing department of the Stoke-on-Trent Council, and we said to him, could you have a look to see if we could go on the council house list? Could we go on the council list? We both knew that people were on these lists for a long period of time, and if you got children and all those sorts of things, which we didn't. We weren't married, we were single.
Never expected anything to come
so
of it.
We didn't really expect anything. And anyway, he came back more or less the next day and said, I've got a place for you might be interested in, you can come and have a look at. And he took us down to Stoke, and he showed us an apartment, a flat there. It was on the ground floor. It was in a fairly new block, and it was a block which was specially reserved for, professionals, shall I put it. So people like we were going to be teachers, so there were teachers, there were doctors, there were nurses, there were dentists, those sort of people were in this block. And he said, it's available, and if you want it, you can have it. And this was sometime in middle of June, and we could move in.
Of course we said yes.
Yeah. We could move in before the end of June. And in Stoke-on-Trent, at that particular time, they used to have what was called the Potter's Holiday, a 2-week holiday at the end of June going into the beginning of July, and we thought that was great. We could move in then. And Harry gave us the good news that it was free.
We didn't have to pay any rent in the holidays.
No rent for 2 weeks in the summer, and no rent to pay for 2 weeks.
Can you remember what the rent was?
Christmas. I can't remember what the rent was. I can't remember at all. But the only thing I do remember eventually was that the electricity, everything was electric in there, electric heating, and that was very expensive.
Had storage heaters, didn't it?
Yeah, it was very expensive. Anyway, so we signed up for this, and we hadn't really got very much in the way of furniture, but we managed to get a few things together. This is all right in a very, very short period of time. But
and we took the piano.
Yeah, piano.
Yeah.
And well, as we got this place to live, we thought, maybe we should get married. And that's where the problem started. Where do we get married? Anita and her parents were from a Catholic background.
And my parents were, well, my mother was very, very strict.
And my parents, at least my mother, was a very strict Pentecostal, quite different really. And, well, where do we get married? So we had to investigate the possibilities. We actually went down to see the Catholic priest, met him. He was a former boxer with a nose like this.
Father,
I can't remember his name. But he was relatively young, and he took us into his office, and we had a chat to him. But I just couldn't see my parents, my mother, going along with a Catholic wedding. So other ideas crossed our minds, one of which was we'd just come out of university. What about going to university? But the university we'd come from was in Bangor in North Wales, and that was not practical either. So we got in contact with the local university, which was Keele University, and asked them if we could get married in their chapel.
And why couldn't we?
I don't know, that just didn't seem to be a starter. There was a non-starter there. We never ever considered a registry office. That sort of, I don't ever remember that going through our minds. But what we did do, we went to...
you didn't, I wouldn't have liked it.
No, I don't think no. We went to the church which was closest to where my parents lived, and we went to see the vicar there. It's an Anglican church, and asked him about getting married there. And I lived in that parish or whatever, and so it didn't seem to be a particular problem, except he said, if you want to get married, when do you want to do it? And we said, well, as soon as possible, like next week or next month.
Tomorrow.
Or within the month, because we were going away in August, and this was getting late in June. And, well, he said, to get married, you have to have the banns read. And to have the banns read, that has to be done for 3 consecutive Sundays in the months leading up to the wedding.
Still have to do that now?
I don't know. Anyway, it was simply not possible. I said, well, I told the vicar that this is really not going to happen. And he said, well, there is a way around it, because during the Second World War, soldiers were going on leave, and they wanted to get married.
So they said Steve needed to be a soldier?
No. They said you can have a special licence. It costs a little bit more, and but if you have a special licence, you can get married more or less straight away. It was designed for soldiers on leave. And so we said, yes, let's get that done. So we had the band. We didn't have to have the banns read. We could have a special licence.
So by the end of June, we had a date. We had a reception to organise and to send out invitations.
And well, we managed to do this. Anita's parents were actually away on holiday at the time, and we actually phoned them up, or they phoned us up, and we said we're getting married. That didn't go down well at all. But we managed to sort out the church, obviously. We managed to sort out a reception. We just went along to a pub that we used to frequent. It was actually called the Gorsty Hall Hotel.
Which is not there anymore, is it?
It's not there. It's a housing estate now.
It had old cars outside, didn't it?
It was a really nice place. We liked it. We used to go there for a drink or a pub lunch and that sort of thing. Anyway, we went in and said, is there anything you can do for us? And they said, yeah, we've got this room. We can have a meal in there. Just tell us what you wanted. And so we asked them to give us a price for a lunch. So we'd have the wedding in the morning and a lunch in the afternoon. So that was all organised. We just needed to find out who could come. So
and then we needed a wedding dress, we needed the best man, we needed a car, we needed the cake, we needed the photographs.
So,
and that's just to name a few things. I'm sure
so
there's a lot more today. When
writing down an invitation. We were paying for this wedding ourselves completely, and so we didn't want to. We couldn't invite a lot of people, so it had to be immediate family and very close friends, and that's what we did. The wedding dress. What did you do about that?
So I had another little Saturday job in a place called Mods and Mums in Harts Hill. And they got a dress in there, a long white dress, not a very fancy wedding dress, and that's where I got my dress from. And then we went up to Hanley, excuse me, because my mum insisted I would have a hat, so I had a big floppy hat. Maybe that's why I don't like hats anymore.
And I went out and bought a suit. It was a black pinstripe suit, and my mum saw it and said she can't wear that. So my mother took me up to Burton's and said, right, we'll get you a suit. So my mother, I think, probably paid for the suit. I can't remember actually. But anyway, I didn't wear the original suit. But that came in for work when I started teaching. So I did actually have that suit for that. The best man, well, that's Martin, who has contacted me today or yesterday and wished us both a very happy wedding anniversary. And he's been a school friend for me since I was about 5 years old, I think. So he was the obvious and logical choice for the best man. And a car, well, there's no way we could afford to rent a big posh car. So Paul, my uncle, who I've mentioned in some of the other videos, he'd got a yellow
Vauxhall Cavalier.
Yellow Vauxhall Cavalier, and we managed to buy a piece of white ribbon, put it on the car, and that served as the wedding car. The cake
was made by the best man's sister, Philippa and Ian. Philippa made us a lovely wedding cake.
Yeah, and the photographs. Well, we took the photographs ourselves.
Oh, Ian did.
Almost. I gave a friend of mine, Ian. Gave him my camera and said, this is the photographs we want, and he took the photographs.
So what camera did you have then? A Leica?
It wasn't a Leica, definitely. I think it was a Yashica.
Brownie.
It was a Yashica Electro AX. It was a nice camera, and I don't know whatever happened to it. We brought it to Mallorca, but it's disappeared. I don't know where it is. Now I brought another SLR camera since then, but we're not talking about cameras in this one. So we had the wedding, and well, there was a little bit of a fuss beforehand. Anita's mum wasn't very happy about it.
No, she wasn't going to come right up till the end.
But eventually she did. The wedding went well, and the reception went very well. At the reception, we had a lunch, and we had the cake, and we had all the speeches, and there's no videos of that, I'm afraid, and we have got some photographs. But no video, so
faded photographs.
Faded photographs, indeed. And nothing was. We didn't organise anything for after this lunch, so the lunch went on till about 2 o'clock or so. And so a few of us went back to your parents' house, and we stayed there for a while, and decided then to go in the evening to go to the Trentham Hotel, just to have some drinks with our friends. And that night we'd organised a hotel to go to, so the idea was we'd go to the Trentham Hotel, have some drinks with our friends, and then say goodnight to them, and then Paul would take us in the car to our hotel. We didn't tell anybody which hotel, we didn't even tell Paul which hotel we were going to until we got in the car.
Definitely you told me, did you?
I'm sure I did. Anyway, we went for the drinks, and had the drinks, and then asked Paul, can you just now, it's 10:30 or whatever time it was, take us to the hotel. So we got in the car, and off we went to the hotel.
The Borough. Was it the Borough?
It was the Borough. And as we went through the door, all our friends were there to greet us. They got to the hotel before we had. How they managed to do that, I'm not sure.
How they found out, I don't know.
I think they rung around a few hotels and said, Mr. and Mrs. Are they there? And anyway, but there was another man who was there to greet us as well. So as we walked through this door, and it's got a swing door, one of these doors that goes round and round, the hotel receptionist or manager was there, and he came to greet us. with a very big apology. He
And
said,
we thought it was a joke at first, didn't I? Well, I did anyway.
sorry, but we've double booked. They hadn't got a room for us. We said, however, we have reserved a room for you in a different hotel, and we'll pay for the taxi to take you there. And we said, well, we don't need a taxi because Paul just dropped us off. He can carry on and take us to this other hotel, which was a relatively new hotel in Newcastle.
On A34.
And well, that's where we went. Paul took us to the hotel, and we stayed there for the night. And that was it. That was our wedding night. And the next day we'd got our apartment to go to. But our honeymoon, if you think of it as a honeymoon, was this holiday that we'd got booked, and it was for the whole of August, and it was a camping holiday.
And guess where? To Guernsey.
To Guernsey, and that's where the Guernsey connection comes in. So this year we've been to Guernsey on our holiday, and brought back lots of lovely memories. And that's where we went to. We took all of these boys off to Guernsey for a camping holiday, which was for 4 weeks. And
another thing is that Steve had just failed his driving test before we got married.
So I wasn't driving the minibus.
So I had to drive the minibus.
Anita was driving the minibus. Anita used to drive the minibus in those days.
Can't imagine it.
And so Guernsey, and we tell the tale of 40 boys going with us, and we're not sure now whether that's quite true, because Anita's been reading through her diaries, and that might have been a different year, but I don't know.
We did take a lot of boys.
We did take a lot of boys, yeah, and we camped in a field for the whole of August and had a wonderful time. So that's the story of our wedding, and here we are, 45 years later, still very happily married.
Yeah.
Cheers, darling.
Cheers. Cheers.
Here's to the next 45 years.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.